It's the question that's been on everybody's mind lately. Should TikTok really be banned? We'll be discussing all sides of the story, and I'll give you my opinion on today's episode of the Random Access Show. My name's Leon Panopoulos. Strap in because this is going to be interesting. So it's been a long time since I've done one of these. But today we're going to be just discussing an issue that has been on everybody's mind, or at least I think it is, and that's the question of should TikTok really be banned? Because just recently on Wednesday, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill which calls for ByteDance to divest from the platform, and the company or the TikTok app will be banned in the country. Now, the bill has been named Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act. Now, it's a very long name, but I don't know. I suppose that's what legal systems like to do. They like to make everything a lot harder than things should be. So this bill passed through the House of Representatives on Wednesday, and it passed with 352 votes in favor, 65 against. So if you do the math, that equals to 417 votes. So out of the 417 representatives in the House of Representatives, 352 voted in favor of this ban, which I honestly find really surprising. But then again, in a house full of Democrats, who knows what could happen. So, look, just some basic information on this, right, before I get into my opinion, because that might take a while. 170 million US citizens use TikTok, so that's roughly half the country. And before the bill actually gets finalized and signed off and put into place, it needs to be cleared through the Senate. Now, this is the upper house of the American legal system, and the bill will face a round of scrutiny and will potentially be changed before it actually passes through. Now, it might not actually pass through. Now, there is a potential of that. I highly doubt that this could happen, and a lot of people online are highly doubting that this could happen, but it's still a possibility. So, Now, this bill also opens up provisions for other quote-unquote foreign adversary-controlled apps. So that could mean anything. According to Al Jazeera, that could mean it includes other popular Chinese apps like Temu and Shein, or just apps from other foreign adversaries. Now, we actually discussed this question a few episodes ago. I'll say a few episodes ago. I don't actually know how long ago it was. We discussed the question of whether TikTok should be banned or not, and a lot of people, when I was talking about them in response to this question, they go maybe not. But so I published an episode. I'm just checking now. So I published an episode on the 21st of April last year on an update on TikTok and the Restrict Act. And I published an episode before that on the 24th of March about TikTok should be scared. Now, that was the title of that. So, we spoke about this issue twice last year, and so we'll speak about it again because it might quite definitely be happening now as we speak. So, this question is a two-sided argument, and what the perspective I'm coming from right now is the question of whether Australia should follow in their footsteps, the footsteps of the United States. So Albanese, according to Gizmodo, said that it's out of the question. A TikTok ban is out of the question, and I think that's a good thing for now. But I'll explain my opinion in more detail in a second. But so a similar event, so I was reading through an article by The Guardian, and they brought up a similar event in Australia, when in 2022, Huawei, which is also owned by the China and Chinese companies and possibly the Chinese government as well, I think, it was banned from participating in the 5G rollout of Australia. So 5G was being rolled out in 2022 here in Australia, and Huawei was banned due to national security risks and security issues. Now, for a country that has, I'd say, I don't know exactly, but I'd say we have pretty good national security here in Australia. We have the ACO, we have Australian Federal Police and all that. But yeah, for a country that focuses on security, national security a lot, we shut down an embassy that was going to be built by the Russians, that was going to be built right next door to Parliament House last year because of security risk. So we took all this stuff into account, right? For a country that focuses on security a lot, I think that we've banned it from government devices, right? We've banned this app from government devices, from Commonwealth employees' devices, right? And I think that was a good step to take. I believe that was a good step to take because we don't want any third-party app really on our government devices. We want as little as possible on these government employees' devices, because who knows what they're going to be collecting. In the end, we really don't know what's going to happen, and everything poses a security risk in some way or another, right? So I think that was a good thing, what they did there, where they banned it on government devices. They did that in the US, and and they've I'm pretty sure TikTok's also banned in India as well on all devices. So we actually in the TikTok Should Be Scared episode, we actually listed all the countries where TikTok was banned, and I'm pretty sure India was on that list somewhere. And so my opinion here is, right, this ban could restrict our freedom, right? If they start banning in Australia TikTok, right, they're gonna then ban Facebook and X and Instagram and Snapchat, because why wouldn't they? It poses a national security risk because of the terms and conditions and privacy policy that say they can collect any and every piece of information that they find on you, right? Every social media app now does that, and I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's the norm, and the norm isn't always a good thing, but I'm saying that's the truth, right? So if they start banning TikTok, what's to stop them from banning anything else? And in my opinion, right, it's the fault of in the end, right, it's up to the user who signs up to this platform, and they click that little box that says, I agree to the terms and conditions, I agree to the privacy policy, right? No one actually reads through those. I don't know anyone that reads through those. I don't read through them, but maybe I should start doing so. But in the end, it's up to this user, right, who agrees to these policies. And look, if it poses a national security risk, if it legitimately poses a security risk to our country, then I'm all for banning the app. Like, right, I don't want a national security risk in on everyone's devices. But if it doesn't actually, we don't have actual if it doesn't actually pose a national security risk, I don't think we should be banning this app. I don't think we should be banning any app, because in the end, that is restricting our freedom. Now, of course, if this app is doing something illegal, then again, I'm happy to ban it. If TikTok was doing something illegal, then let's ban it. But this privacy policy and this terms and conditions are something that we sign up to as the end user, right? And we agreed to. They're taking our data, and by it's 2024. Everyone knows that none of these social media platforms are actually doing good for us. They're all taking our data. They're all mining that data, selling it off, and that's how they make a huge chunk of their money. Right, that's why Zuck and Musk and all these people are rich. Right, they sell their data, this data off that they've got from you guys, from end users, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, TikTok even, and they sell this data. Everyone knows this, right? Or I hope everyone knows this. Is signing up to these platforms, right? Now, what TikTok is doing isn't much different, except for the fact that it's owned by ByteDance, who are based in China. And the Chinese government funded and all that. So there's a fuzzy stuff going on over there. There's it's a bit of a grey area in what the actual company's operations are. But if this does pose a national security risk, like I said, go ban the app. I'm happy to. But for now, we don't know that it actually does. So I don't think Australia should be banning it. For once, I'm actually agreeing with Albo here and saying no, don't ban the app. Right? I'm happy that it's out of the question. I don't use TikTok myself because first of all, I don't want to use TikTok just in general, and second of all, because I know that they do take our information. So right now I'm reading through the privacy policy, and here, look, technical information we collect about you. Quote, we collect certain information about the device you use to access the platform, such as your IP address, user agent, mobile carrier, time zone settings, identifiers for advertising purposes, model of your device, the device system, network type, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to keep going. Now, if I were to go into Meta's privacy policy and Instagram's privacy policy and Snapchat's privacy policy, I'm sure I'd see something similar, right? Okay, this is a bit scary. Keystroke patterns or rhythm. Why would they need to collect that information about me? So obviously there are things that stand out in this privacy policy and these terms and conditions. They infer information about you. So, quote, we also infer your attributes, including your interests, gender, and age range for the purpose of personalizing content, unquote. And there's usage information, location information. This is a bit scary. Quote, we collect information about your approximate location, including location information based on your SIM card and or IP address. With your permission, we may also collect precise location data, such as GPS, and unquote. So now this is where things get up to the user, right? People will see a thing that will pop up and say, do you agree? Like, so they'll just be scrolling through TikTok and they'll see something that comes up that says, do you agree to let TikTok use your precise location information or your location information? People will go, I don't know what that means. They'll click yes. Or with cookies, when cookies pop up and it asks, do you agree to cookies? People will just click agree because they don't know what it is. It's easier to press agree. If you click disagree, they'll make you go through a whole bunch of on and off switches, right? It's easier to click agree and just get rid of it, right? They want to keep scrolling through content. And the way TikTok and these platforms do it with cookies and with like location information and stuff is really smart because people are lazy and they don't want to keep going, like they want to keep watching their TikTok videos, right? So they'll just click agree because they know that it's going to get rid of the pop-up in the middle of their screen that's stopping them from watching a cat skateboarding or toaster cats or whatever else they're watching, right? So they're really smart about how they do that. And you know what, yeah, it's interesting how if you look into the psychology of all this stuff, and you know there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on psychology of tech platforms and all that sort of stuff. So of course TikTok do also use cookies. We and our service providers and business partners use cookies and other similar technologies to automatically collect information, measure and analyze how you use the platform. So, yeah, they do use cookies. I mean, 99% of sites I'd say do actually use cookies. But we just haven't noticed until the EU put that law in that made everyone actually have to put in a thing that says, do you agree to our cookies or not? Now I was scrolling through here before and I saw, yeah, here we are. So the privacy policy also says about messages. So nowadays most messaging platforms are end-to-end encrypted. That is basis for security these days, right? It's the most basic level of security you can get for messages, right? WhatsApp, Messenger, RCS, I think, have this implemented, right? All these platforms have end-to-end encryption. TikTok, of course not, because they just collect more data than they absolutely have to. So let's read through this. So, quote, we collect information you provide when you compose, send, or receive messages through the platform's messaging functionalities. They include messages you send or receive through our chat functionality when communicating with merchants who sell goods to you, and your use of virtual assistants when purchasing items through the platform. That information includes the content of the message and information about the message, such as when it was sent, received, or read, and message participants. Please be aware that messages you choose to send to other users of the platform will be accessible by those users and that we are not responsible for the manner in which those users use or share the messages. Now, this is the scary part. I'm going to read it again. This information includes the content of the message. So these are not end-to-end encrypted messages because obviously TikTok can read these messages and they're sending this content off to advertising providers and making a whole bunch of money from it. This is scary. This should not be allowed. Legally, I don't think that should be allowed, right? Because TikTok now have the messages that you have sent to whoever you might have sent it to. Whether it's harmless or not, what's in your message. I don't care what's in the message. It could just be you saying hi to someone, right? It doesn't matter. TikTok now have what you've sent in a message and they can see everything that you've sent to every single person, right? That is the scary part, especially in this day and age where everything is basic, at least basic level end-to-end encrypted, right? Which means that so WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, so WhatsApp cannot read my messages, and no one else can read my messages, only I can, and the person I send them to, right? WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, and most messaging platforms are, at least have a basic level of end-to-end encryption. TikTok, no, they don't care, right? So if we go through what else they collect, receive information about merchants, information you provide, user content. So obviously whatever you upload, right? Even if it's got, even so, one thing you might not have known, and I'm going to tell you something very important right now. One thing you might not have known is about when you take photos, is that if you take a photo, every photo that you take, unless you turn a setting off in your photo settings, right? Every photo that you take has a location tag, and whether or not you see it in the top, right? It'll have a location tag that says where you took the photo and at what time, right? Now you can change that information. You can get rid of that information. You can turn that off so that automatically every time you take a picture, that location is not provided. But whenever you send that photo to someone, if you post it on TikTok, if you post it on Instagram, if you send it to me, if you send it to someone, right? No matter how you send it, that image has what we call location tags and metadata. That means I can see exactly where you took that photo. I can see exactly what time you took that photo. I can even see what phone or what camera you used to take that photo. So that is all part of just a single photo, right? All that information can be gleaned from with just a single photo, right? And that is a scary thing, right? When we upload posts to TikTok or to Instagram or to Facebook or to Snapchat, people can see where you took that photo from, and TikTok can see where you took that photo from. So we process the content you generate on the platform, including photographs, and the associated metadata, right? Such as when, where, and by whom the content was created. Even if you are not a user, information about you may appear in user content created or published by users on the platform, right? So all this information, right, is contained in just a photo or a piece of audio or a video. Everything. Be careful when you send photos to people, and be very careful when you upload these photos to Instagram and TikTok and stuff, right? So I might link in the description a video of how you can get rid of location data from your photos, so that it automatically, as soon as you take a photo or video, it stops adding the location in. But still, TikTok knows all this stuff about you, right? So look, TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and all these platforms, right? Their privacy policies are scarily similar, right? It's a bad thing that they're all similar, because I don't like anything that's in these privacy policies. But if TikTok is not posing a national security risk, and I'm going to end on this, if TikTok is not posing a national security risk to Australia or to the US, I feel like it's a restriction of freedoms on what we can and cannot use on our devices. And well, obviously, when ever since we had mobile phones created, we knew that the government was eventually going to come in, regulate what we do on them, and stop us from doing what we want, and they're going to come in and tell us what we can and can't do. So I reckon this is going to be the first step with TikTok and being banned in the US. So we'll see how this passes through the Senate, right? We'll see how this act passes through the Senate. My guess is that it is going to be banned, whether the act changes in some small way or form, right? That I think TikTok will be banned, and maybe eventually Temu and what was the other app? Shein, and maybe some of these other apps. But yeah, look, I don't think TikTok should be banned unless, of course, it does legitimately pose a national security risk to our country or to the United States. But that's my opinion. Thanks for tuning into the Random Access Show. Make sure to check out our WhatsApp and our website. And make sure to share with your friends and family. And make sure to leave in our Q&A on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, whether or not you believe TikTok should be banned and why, right? So make sure you leave that down in the Q&A that I have on Spotify. But yeah, have a great weekend.